What's up, guys? Wes with Fantasy Smack Talk. Week 9 already in the NFL fantasy football season. Already halfway through the regular season. Going to bring you my top pivot picks, my top differentiation plays for this week's NFL FanDuel Sunday Million. Before I do that, just want to tell y'all about fanfootball.ninja, fanfootball.ninja. Talking about this for a few weeks now, but fanfootball.ninja allows you to take all of your teams from every website, wherever you play, ESPN, Yahoo, CBS, put them in one platform, track all the transactions in your leagues, all the waiver wires, and watch all your matchups in one place on Sunday and Monday night. So check that out, fanfootball.ninja. All right, Week 8, we saw the highest scoring point total of the year in the FanDuel Sunday Million. I think the winner had 224 points and was 12 ahead of second place, which is a blowout in this tournament. So also saw Zeke and LaShawn McCoy as the running back set on the winning lineup for the second straight week. Obviously going to see a new set this week with Ezekiel Elliott starting his suspension in all likelihood. Get it right into Week 9. My top guy at quarterback this week is going to be Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz taking on the Denver Broncos in Philadelphia, priced at $8,000 on FanDuel. Pick is more about ownership really than it is about Wentz's ceiling. I think a lot of people in the industry are going to shy away from Wentz and other Eagles because of that matchup with Denver, but I don't think you should. So Wentz last week against San Francisco only threw for 211 yards, 18 completions, and 2 touchdowns, and had an interception too. But he did what he needed to do for the Eagles to win, and they blew the 49ers out of the water. I don't expect the game flow to unfold that way against the Broncos, but still a guy who has a 14-3 touchdown to interception ratio in October, and he's exceeded 20 FanDuel points in 3 of Philly's last 4. So most importantly in my mind for this matchup is the way he performed against Carolina on a Thursday night on the road in Week 6. Was really efficient, basically excellent, threw for 3 touchdowns, and Carolina is the second-ranked passing defense in the league, so this guy is good, obviously, essentially matchup proof. So when everybody else is looking away from him, I think this is the time to get on him, especially in this tournament on Sunday. So Denver's defense, they're ranked number 1 overall in FanDuel's metrics, and they've allowed, I think, the 7th fewest points to opposing quarterbacks, but that's a little skewed. They haven't faced a ton of great quarterbacks. Wentz will probably be the best one that they've played all year. They do have a 91.7 opponent QBR, which is in the bottom third of the league. So, you know, they're not unbeatable. They're still one of the better defenses in the league overall. But again, at $8,000 and an ownership rate probably below 5%, you really have a great opportunity with Wentz in the FanDuel Sunday Million this week. All right, running back guy this week is Chris Thompson. 6,700 on FanDuel against the Seahawks. But Chris Thompson is a guy who's quietly had a really good year for the Redskins. Gone for double-digit FanDuel points in 6 of Washington's 7 games this year. And again, quietly, he's had over 15 points in 3 of those games. So I think he's really going to be overlooked this week against a Seattle team that's allowing the 6th fewest yards per carry in the NFL. Should be about 6 to 8% owned, which really is an opportunity given the performances he's had and the game flow that I think is going to take place in this game. Seattle is just blowing teams out of the water at home. They've scored 87 points in their past 2 home games. I think this game is going to be well over the 45 that Vegas said is the over-under for the point total. So if the Redskins are chasing the Seahawks, or if this game is a shootout, Chris Thompson will be the biggest beneficiary for the Redskins outside of Kirk Cousins. Josh Doctson, Jameson Crowder, these guys cannot establish themselves as the top guy in that receiving core. Terrell Pryor is just terrible. Chris Thompson is second in the team in targets, just a few behind Jameson Crowder. And really, if they're looking at all to score points, Kirk Cousins is going to be looking at Chris Thompson out of the backfield, out of the flat, checking down to him if they're trying to catch up to the Seahawks team, or if they're just trying to keep up with them. Chris Thompson is going to be the guy who benefits, and he doesn't even have to get 10 or more carries to be valuable on Sunday. So check out Chris Thompson, 6,700 against, I think, in Seattle. All right, wide receiver, my guy this week, Dez Bryant. Dez Bryant is a guy I don't think is going to be as low owned as these first 2 picks, but if DeAndre Hopkins and Michael Thomas and Mike Evans can draw the attention that I think they will, keep Dez anywhere around 9, 10, 11% owned. he's pretty attractive in my mind on Sunday. So without Eric Berry, the Chiefs have been one of the league's worst passing defenses. They're third worst in the league in yards allowed, and they're giving up the fourth most fantasy points in FanDuel to wide receivers. So if you take out Sunday's game in Washington, which is just a rainy, ugly game where neither team really threw the ball much, take that one out, and Dez has drawn 31 targets over Dallas's previous 3 games. And that's, a lot of Dallas's games have come against teams with good corners for whatever reason. There's obviously some good ones in the NFC East with Janoris Jenkins, and Josh Norman. But Dez always seems to draw some of the elite. Regardless, he scored 4 times this year, 4 times in 7 games. If you watched the game on Sunday, you saw him throwing what looked to be like a little temper tantrum on the sideline. Reports are that was overblown, or maybe misunderstood or misrepresented or whatever. Regardless, when that has happened this year, wide receivers have been rewarded, or there's been a correction in the play calling. So especially with Ezekiel Elliott suspended for the next 6 games, I think Dez and obviously Jason Witten are going to be huge beneficiaries, along with Dak Prescott from a fantasy perspective. So look for that at 7,700 at around 10% owned in this tournament. Should be really valuable. All right, finally, my guy at tight end is going to be Jack Doyle against Houston at 5,700. Jack Doyle is a guy like Dez Bryant that I don't think is going to be in the low single digits. I think the recency bias, the fact that he's coming off his best game of 2017, is going to attract a lot of people to him, but I don't think it'll attract everyone. This is a guy that's been very frustrating, very inconsistent all year. Never really know what to expect with this offense or what to expect with his targets or his performance. So Jack Doyle should be around 10% owned. But the thing I like about him is that he's been Jacoby Brissett's security blanket. So when Jacoby Brissett has been successful, Jack Doyle has been the guy who's helped them, who's been by his side, and who's been drawing most of his targets, not T.Y. Hilton. So coming off a season high of 14 targets in Week 8, and he's seen 39 total targets over the past 4 weeks. Doyle has, so that's good for 3rd most in the NFL over that span, over those last 4 weeks. So great in October, just a lot of volume. Houston, the matchup that Indy has this week has been really soft to tight ends, and they face some of the league's best tight ends this year. Jimmy Graham scored 2 touchdowns against them on Sunday. Obviously, complete blown coverage on that game winner to Jimmy Graham, but the middle of the field, they seem to be weaker than on the outside. Travis Kelce and Gronk each had double-digit fantasy point games against the Texans as well. So Doyle will be the 4th best guy that this Texans team has faced all year from the tight end position, and I do think he'll have the 4th best performance. And at that price tag and with that ownership, that'll be enough to make Doyle valuable on Sunday. All right, guys, thanks for checking out Week 9 video. I'll be back next Thursday with Week 10. Until then, check out my article on this video and all the other great coverage we have, fantasysmacktalk.com, and hit us up on Twitter at Fantasy Advice. We'll get all your roster and trade questions and lineup questions answered before game time on Sunday.